So there's a difference between sliced and chopped. There's a difference between minced or diced and cubed. And for a brisket mac and cheese, especially with little shells, or even medium shells, which we're gonna have tomorrow, I don't want bites bigger than that. Because if they're big chunks, even if they look like they're gonna fall apart while it's warm, if they're that big in the mac and cheese, it's hard for it to hold on a fork, it's hard for it to hold on a spoon, it's hard for it to fit in your mouth basically. So you get a better bite with 4 little pieces than a big chunk like the first, like this. And you know, you can't really blend it up. You can't stick it in the food processor, because I'll do that with the mashed potatoes because it's already a puree. And like 3 people that are the most concerned. There's people with sensitive teeth or mouths, and I guess that encompasses also the elderly and the young. So basically trying to make everything bite-sized for a toddler or for a little person. And people with sensitive teeth. So anyway, I slice it all up about a 1/4 inch thick, and then if you're good, you can do short little strokes with the serrated knife. If you do great big strokes, especially if you're sawing up fresh brisket instead of what's been in foil, and that softens up the bark, because the bark is more like a crust right out of the smoker, and it just kind of sprays everywhere. So it's like, I want to use a slicer, but then you can't really chop the slices. You can slice it faster maybe, but then you still got to go back, and sometimes even on a thicker piece, you go back, like you'll make these slices, the verticals, and then you do a mid horizontal slice to really make it into this size bite. As we go, filling up this pan. It's already got butter and 1 layer of American cheese. And we'll go American cheese on top of this, and sour cream, and I like to do horseradish Havarti. We've got some fontina to use, and cheddar's also nice, good sharp cheddar, and another layer of American cheese on top, because it's nice when your mac and cheese is nice and cheesy. And then seasoned salt. The imported Italian semolina durum wheat pasta shells. I'd like to start mixing medium shells and the tiny shells, or small shells. But you gotta cook them in different pots, cook them different lengths of times, which might help. One might help the other. One's less or more al dente than the other. But cooking it al dente and cooling it down quick, but not cooling it down, it's more like getting it into this, which is cold, out of the fridge, prepped in advance, so that the steamy noodles can warm it up quickly and melt all the cheese quickly, and the butter, and not overcook the noodles. Because if this is already hot out here, and then you're keeping it warm, it will have a tendency to overcook the noodles, which is, I think, the easiest way to ruin a batch of mac and cheese. Overcook the noodles. Can't have them undercooked and they're too like dense and hard and gummy, but right at gummy and done, because they're still for sure gonna cook. don't necessarily make the best leftover cold brisket. We do pull them like an hour before the thicker briskets. That's a nicer brisket, center cut. But these little end pieces are pretty quick to cook. They're still delicious, but it'll be even more delicious in a mac and cheese than on its own at this point. Really hoping to find time in the morning between boiling the noodles and cutting fresh steaks to slice up some purple cabbage and carrots. Maybe a little bit of purple onion too. Anyway, for some fresh slaw. It's finally time. A couple days before June, it's time to have some summer recipes. Something a little lighter other than pineapple, which I've been out of for a couple weeks. And then I know it'll go out of season at some point here. So some good fresh slaw with the house vinaigrette. Good. It'll look vibrant either in the case or in the produce fridge. Floor messy. And see little pieces like that, burnt ends. Some people can't. I'm gonna eat it. Some people can't chew that. Even these little strands. I like them. So, can't chew them much, folks. Being careful not to slice the paper too much, because it'll cut it for sure. So I saw into it, and then I stop and move the meat through one, and it'll finally tear. Halfway cutting, halfway shredding. Mostly just trying not to cut the paper so that I don't inadvertently get little bits of paper in the daggone food. You know, it's the main concern here. Just have to be conscientious of that. And I'm replacing the paper every brisket. Just to be safe. And you see, I'm definitely cutting through because, just put that on top. Definitely cutting through because just getting through a little bit. Alright, I'm not gonna make you suffer watching any more of this, but this is where we're at. I got two more, so I should just about fill it up a nice little layer, real nice little layer. And we'll add more cheese on top, seasoned salt, sour cream, just like this. And add the steamy noodles on top, and we're good. Yum.